And welcome back. We're having a great discussion with Alladan from BTC Cards, trading cards, Bitcoin trading cards. And Alladan, I have a question for you. I ask everybody on this show, and it's amazing how many different answers I get to this simple question. So Alladan, what is Bitcoin?
To me, Bitcoin is hope. I think that's one of the most important things we need as a human. We need hope. And once you start going down the rabbit hole, if you're able to pay attention to what's going on, we need hope more than ever. And the biggest thing that I can find that is broken that could help fix the majority of issues in the world, not everything, but the majority of them, is the monetary system. And absolute power breeds absolute corruption. So if you take the absolute power, which is the money printer, out of the hands of any human being, then we have the most potential I've ever seen to be able to help fix so many issues across the world, from wars to famine. I mean, you name it. So to me, beyond anything else, Bitcoin is hope, the hope that I need as a father to be able to push forward for my kids, for their future, for their children's future.
Good point, because you're right. The absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I think we've seen what they've done with our money and what we've done in the world because they can print as much money as they want to. You know, in the feudal days, when they would have a war, it'll last like a year or two and they started running out of money. So they had to settle it one way or another. Now, with money printing, not only can we have a war forever, we can do multiple fronts. And we are paying for the war by inflation, which is the worst tax of all, which affects people with little money more than anyone else. So I agree. I think it could be a great thing for the planet, for sure. Now, on your company, Bitcoin Trading Cards, you have several investors in there that are people I know pretty well. I don't know if we can name those on the show, so I didn't want to say anyone's names, but you have some high-level people that have invested what I would say a decent amount of money backing this project. So they, like me, not in like me as investing, but like me, see the value of these cards, how these can help out. And where do you see Bitcoin cards? Because I'm sure there's some kind of roadmap that they had to see before they would invest money in the project. Where do you see Bitcoin trading cards going? I mean, what's the future, I guess, for Bitcoin trading cards?
Yeah, well, I mean, first on that point, we're actually still 100% bootstrapped. We've never taken an investment. I spent my life savings on this project, and the only investors we've got on this, honestly, are just the people that are purchasing the cards and helping to support this project. Other than that, the team that's invested into it is just, for the most part, volunteers. The advisors that are helping are just volunteers that are advising on this project. So yeah, it's really just been a community effort on this thing so far, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to pull this thing off is all we've got into it at this point. But the future for where we're gonna go with this, I think, is pretty endless, as long as we can keep up the motivation and drive to be able to continue to push this thing forward. One of the greatest things about this project is we have the opportunity to reach the general public with Bitcoin like no other project I've seen. And the way that we can bring this to a sporting event, we can bring this to concerts. This is something that, I mean, the traditional trading card market is about an $80 billion a year marketplace. And you got people that break cards across the internet that have hundreds of thousands. I mean, a couple people with a few million followers. I like to think of this project as the Trojan horse. If I can bring the quality of these trading cards at the level of the traditional hobby, but honestly, beyond that level, I've got some things in store, especially with this new printer I'm working with, to be able to do things that have never been done in the trading card hobby before. And I try to use the ethos of Bitcoin in everything that I do with this project as possible to really show the proof of work in what we're doing. The scarcity, that's a really big one. So one of the things I'm most excited about is, in the traditional trading card hobby, I would imagine the majority of people that collect trading cards don't understand the scarcity of the traditional trading cards that are out there. Pokemon prints tens of millions to hundreds of millions of packs a year. Magic the Gathering, really similar. Baseball trading cards, very similar. As you start to work more and more with some of the really big printers out there, you start to get a little bit of an inside knowledge of what really goes on. And a lot of these companies, they literally print like the Federal Reserve. They're kicking out new series every couple weeks to once a month. You say, I found a one of one, and now I've got this incredibly rare card. It's a one of one. But if you really dig into that particular trading card project, there could be anywhere from 10,000 to 30,000 one of ones that were produced in that 1 year. So how rare is your one of one if there's 20 to 30,000 of those one of ones just in that one trading card project alone? So I'm really hoping that one of the things that the traditional hobby can get out of these cards is going to be understanding scarcity. And again, that's the Trojan horse of these cards. As long as we can bring the art, the creativity, the quality of these trading cards, again, at the level, if not beyond the level of the traditional trading card market right now, you're going to get a lot of collectors that have been in the space a long time that with the education of these cards, they're going to start to discover that the trading cards they've been collecting and sadly investing in are really not that scarce, and they're not holding a collectible necessarily. And I think that's something that will spark a lot of interest in people into Bitcoin, because once you start to learn about scarcity, period, there's only one scarce money in the entire world that is truly decentralized that is going to remain scarce at 21 million Bitcoin. So I think there's a lot that can be done with this project once it starts getting in the hands of people that collect traditional trading cards, but just need the education of money and scarcity in general.
So how often do you come out with, as you said, a baseball company, Topps? I don't know if I'm just going to say as an example, they're going to come out with a regular set, which they print a ton of. Then they're going to have a Series 2 set, which they're going to have a ton of. Then they're going to come with a rookie set or something of 100 at the end of the year. So during the year, they've come out with basically 3 different sets, part 1, part 2, and the final update, basically. And I don't know what the numbers are that they print, but they're in every 7-Eleven, every convenience store. I mean, there's a lot of them. Let's just put it that way. How often do you print or plan to print card sets? I mean, is it going to be one set a year down the road as you get going? What are the plans? One set a year, a set in spring and fall? Because you're saying you're not going to print a lot. So what are the thoughts on that? And we got like a minute, so we may have to pull some of that into the later. But if you could give us an answer on that real quick.
Yeah, so the main series, which would be like our Dynasty series, the flagship, only 21,000 packs a year. So that will be the scarcest trading card project ever printed. And then when we do the commemorative packs, these are packs that we do at conferences like BitBlock Boom that we have planned. Our main commemorative pack will only be 2,121 packs. And then the whale packs that we do, which really just highlights the Bitcoin artists in the space, only 1,210 packs. And we will only do 4 of those a year. So our main series that we're working on right now that we've been printing is definitely the scarcest trading card project ever printed.
Would that be, when I was in Miami, I bought a box of your cards, just set them back. And it was on it was Fudbusters. Would that be your regular series?
Yeah, that's the flagship series.
Okay.
So I mean, those boxes, Gary, 875 boxes total a year. That's it.
Now, that's not a whole lot of trading cards, that's for sure. That's not a whole lot at all. And no telling how many of those cards get damaged and are not even collectible because of how they were opened and people didn't realize what they had, the scarcity of them. It's kind of like Bitcoin. Pretty scarce. And I like how you have 21,000 of those for the 21 million Bitcoin. At least ways it's not 21 million packs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll be right back with Alladan from BTC Trading Cards right after this word from our sponsor. So stay tuned. And before we go, make sure and tell a friend about this show if you think they'd find this of interest. We'll see you in a minute.